Hey, good morning, my friends. Guess what? It's summer in Arizona. It's 7 o'clock in the morning and it's currently 85 degrees. My goodness. You know, road trips. I love road trips. Every road trip is a good road trip, but the best ones are on Route 66. But this time of year, especially out here in the West, and you get down in the Colorado River country, down in Needles, California, down that direction, gets a tad bit warm in summer, so be prepared. Even if you're driving a new car and you're driving across, the desert on the interstate highways, carry some water. If you don't need it, you might know somebody who does. Hey, today we've got a variety of two different kinds of adventures to discuss. We're going to be talking with Markku and Jacob. They're kicking off their Route 66 adventure in a 1973 Chrysler New Yorker. Talked to them once before on the program, and really a fascinating people. But this trip is kind of special on many, many levels. We'll get into that about 7:30. Good morning, Keith. And first up, we're going to talk to Tom Saluzzo out at he's the president of the Museum of the Great Wars here in Kingman, Arizona. And he's got a pretty exciting update to share with us. And so let's see if we can get Tom. And we'll talk about this. I'd let him explain this, but this is a really ambitious project that he's got going. Hey, good morning, Tom.
How are you doing, sir?
God bless. Every day is good. Some days are better than others. And what makes today good is we're not down on the Colorado River.
That's absolutely correct. At least it's not as hot here. So, although for a lot of our listeners, I don't know that they realize that Arizona is actually closer than the Earth to the sun. So,
Well, like I say, I have to apologize in advance to the poor people down in Needles. I always tease them down there that it's not hell come summer, but if you squint hard enough, I think you can see it from there.
That is correct, sir. That is correct.
Since the last time we talked to you about the Museum of the Great Wars, tremendous project, by the way, and I've collected some stuff for you. I got to get together with you real soon. I got some things for you to go with that, since you're documenting personal stories of the people who served. But you've got a pretty darned exciting update since we last spoke.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we've got a lot of big things going on. So I guess we'll start. First and foremost, it was on your show back over in the winter that we announced that we were getting a Lockheed Harpoon medium bomber. And we've made tremendous progress with that project. In fact, on Wednesday, a triple axle tractor trailer is headed down to Mesa to drop off the trailer so we can load the fuselage, which is the last piece. Everything else is here. The wings are here. The engines are here. The props are here. The flight controls. We've made, half a dozen trips over the past months. We've had a crew down there working on taking this thing apart. And so we're down to just the fuselage. And when that gets up here, then it'll all start going back together. We secured a lease at the airport. So this airplane will be permanently displayed between the airport administration and the terminal buildings right next to the airport cafe.
Oh,
so,
excellent.
Yeah. So when people pull into the airport, you see the World War II control tower, you see the terminal building, and immediately to the left of that, or to the north of it, is where the Harpoon is going to sit. So it's going to give people a really cool experience. It's going to actually be on the outside of the fence. So it's going to be on the public side of the airport, so people can take their kids, they can walk around it. The vintage car guys or whoever, if you want to take a picture with your car in front of a World War II bomber, you'll be able to do that. And I think it's going to be a really cool thing for the community, especially, Kingman is a car town. I mean, it's in the heart of Route 66, and I think that'll be a kind of a neat thing for everybody. So,
yeah, that's something that gets overlooked a lot, and it's right off Route 66. But the Kingman Airport Industrial Park was established in 1942 as the Kingman Army Airfield. We have one of the last World War II era control towers. Of course, the cafe is first. That's just a real treat. There at the airport. Then you have the monuments under the tower and other little treats like Import Corner and Desert Diamond Distillery all at the airport. This is going to be a very welcome addition.
Yes.
Where the Harpoon is a pretty darn rare little critter, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a weird critter. It's in, it's the funny thing is, we were talking about this the other day. There's fewer Harpoon owners than there are currently astronauts. So there's not a lot of these in existence. They were built the last year of the war. They were an evolution from the Lockheed Ventura, which the Ventura was in turn a evolution of the Lockheed Lodestar, which was a transport aircraft. It was the unsuccessful competitor to the Douglas DC-3. And, it was still built, but not in anywhere near the numbers. It wasn't anywhere near the airplane. And the Ventura, they built about 3,000 of. And those we gave some to the British. We used them quite a bit in the Pacific. People are familiar with the, I'm drawing a blank and I'm embarrassed to say it, the USS Indianapolis. When the USS Indianapolis, she was the last capital ship of the war that was sunk. She had the largest loss of life on any U.S. Navy vessel outside of Pearl Harbor. And it was actually a Lockheed Ventura crew that spotted the survivors 4 days after the torpedoing. So, these were airplanes that were all up and down the Pacific. They were in the Aleutians. And so then they redesigned it to the Harpoon. They added about 125 square feet of wing space. They gave it better low-speed handling characteristics, and the Harpoons did see some service the last 3 months of the war. They were used pretty extensively in the Aleutians. And, we're going to use this as a tool to not only teach, we're looking at teaching two different things with this airplane, Jim. Number one is the story that land-based naval aviation in the Pacific. Nobody really knows a lot about it. People don't know about, the war in the Aleutians. Your average Joe on the street doesn't even know that the Japanese occupied American territory in Alaska during the war. And so this will be a great tool for that. And of course, the other tool and it's part of the bigger story of what we do, is this is to teach, about the men and women who built these airplanes, flew these airplanes, and fought these airplanes. Yeah. And, and that's what we're focused on with this particular project. So
the idea, with any of these kind of projects, if you can spark conversation, you can teach. And we sorely need this, and I don't want to sound real, negative here, but when you mention people don't realize that the Japanese occupied some of the Aleutian Islands, there's a lot of people don't realize there was a president named Eisenhower.
Well, you're not wrong.
But this is an exciting chapter. How's your museum project coming together?
So the whole museum project as a whole is coming together good. So the Harpoon and the timing on the Harpoon wasn't exactly ideal because we're neck deep with the building project. But you have to kind of take these things as they come along. It's not every day that you get a phone call, "Hey kid, you want a World War II bomber?" Well, yeah. So we've been doing that in parallel with our building, and the building is coming along great. We've got the building permit. I believe we should have in just the next little bit. The county called me actually Wednesday and said, "Hey, we need a deed and we need $650 so we can continue moving along with this." So we gladly paid them and got that going. The septic tank, which is a very unexciting thing, but a very necessary thing, has been installed and certified and blessed by the county. So hopefully in the next few months, we should be having that building ground set by the good folks over at Mojave Homes. And they've done a really good job for us with kind of shepherding us through this process. So,
good.
That's coming along well. We've got all sorts of new artifacts. Just crazy stuff. So we can't wait to get this building open so we can get in it and start organizing and showcasing things. And then another exciting project we've got going is at the end of September 26th, we have a family fall festival and car show. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be actually at the Church of the Nazarene, which is just north of Northern on Stockton Hill Road. And it's going to be a week after the fall, the county festival or the county fair comes. And the difference from our thing and what they're doing is, yes, they have way cooler rides, way better games, but people can come to our thing for $20 and actually leave with stuff with their kids. We're going to have a bunch of little fair type games. We're going to have all the different car groups are going to be there. We're going to have our biplane War Kitty on display. So there'll be a lot of different things for people to come and do. It's going to be from 12 to 4. We're going to have history on display. The Young Marines are supporting us. Obviously, the Mother Red Media guys are supporting us. In fact, they're who are actually hosting the show to benefit us. And I think it's going to be a good thing for the community to be able to come see some history see an airplane, play some games, win some prizes, and just have a good family experience. And I think that's something that we need to do more of here in this town. So
I do too. You know, when our first conversation about the museum, there's military museums. You know, pretty much every town's got one, but yours has got a different approach by wanting to tell the story of the people.
Right.
You know, not so much the focus on the military aspect as more personal. And I tell you, when I'll never forget our first conversation, you were talking about photographs of cats. How universal that was.
Yes. Well, and that is, and the thing is to teach that, a couple of different things. Number one, it's like I've said before, I can't tell you. And one of the things we do is we have a Memorial Day presentation that we do. And in it, we tell the story of 3 young men who don't come home. And one of those gentlemen was actually had married a gal named Fanny Shoemate. They were in Phoenix. In fact, his B-29, he named the city of Phoenix. And they were lost the afternoon of August the 8th, 1945. So 6 days before the war ends. And we tell his story. We tell the story of Francis Green, who was a carpenter, started out as just a fireman working in the engine room on the USS Minneapolis, goes through the entire war. He loses his life off of Okinawa in June of 45. And we tell the story of a young Private Miller, who is from Kansas, and his brother actually worked for Beechcraft. His brother was a sheet metal guy who worked for Beechcraft, who probably pounded rivets on our beach. And anyway, so we tell these stories on a single timeline. Yeah. And we start with the first gentleman enlisting, and we end with the last body coming home. And we tell these stories because I can't tell you the story of all 410,000 men who died in World War II or 58,000 men who died in Vietnam, but I could tell you a couple of stories.
Yes.
And when I tell you those stories, you will feel an attachment to those individuals.
Yes.
And it becomes so much more real, the cost of conflict. And then you add something like when we do our cat exhibit where, here you have a young German soldier holding a cat, or a young, I would say Russian, but the Russians didn't take many pictures because the Soviet Union sucked and nobody had anything, but a British or an Italian or even a Japanese soldier. And you look at them and it's, the reality is that kids are kids. Yeah. And, most of these young men who get sent to war, regardless of country, aren't any different than our kids were.
Yeah.
Yes, there's some hardcore bad people in any organization, but as a whole, they're just kids, doing their job. We have a grouping that belongs to a gentleman that used to live here. It was his dad's. His dad was in the German Navy during World War II. He was on the cruiser, the Colm. And I said, well, how'd your dad end up joining the Navy? And he goes, we didn't have a choice. It's 1941 Germany. His choices were, you could join the Navy because you're kind of a smart guy and we think you'd be a good gunnery, guy, or you could go to the Eastern Front. And of course he chose, immediately, I think I like boats. And so he was in the Navy. And, his best story was he was on the Colm. It was at Bremerhaven. They had left to go into town to get supplies. They came back and the British had sunk the ship. So that was pretty much the end of his war. So, that was about 3 weeks before the war ended. So, that's the focus of what we do. We like that individual, story. And we've got lots of individual stuff that has ties. Some has ties to Kingman. Some have ties to Arizona. But all of them have ties to America, which is, the most important thing of all.
Are you familiar with the Menin Gate in Ypres, Belgium?
What's that?
Are you familiar with the Menin Gate in Ypres, Belgium?
Vaguely, yeah. I can't say I would be a subject matter expert on it, but I am familiar with it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I had the privilege a few years ago, and as moving as it was to go through a couple of the museums, visit the cemeteries, and even walk the trenches from World War I at Ypres, the Menin Gate is incredible. It's a arched gate that's probably a city block long or more, and it's 25, 30, 35 feet high. And it's small print names from the street level to the ceiling of soldiers that were never found. They were just gone.
Right.
And every night they take one name off the wall and they tell the man's story, who his family was, where he was born, where he went to school. They tell his story The idea being he should never be forgotten. And
Right.
my understanding is, except for World War II, that has been done every night since like 1921.
Oh,
And,
that's awesome.
and when I was there were families from Australia, New Zealand that had come for those ceremonies. It's pretty moving.
Well, and it is. And, you should remember those who've given the ultimate sacrifice, whether it be for Americans for our freedom or the Belgians for their freedom. And,
Yeah.
One of the interesting things that we see, I was actually had a gal come into the pawn shop about, 2 or 3 weeks ago now. And she's from Korea. So she was born in Seoul. And she was sitting there and we started talking about stuff. And she was looking at some of the displays we had. And, one of the pieces we have is from the tree cutting incident on the DMZ. And this happened in the early 70s. A group of Americans and Koreans went in to try to trim back a poplar tree, and they were attacked by North Koreans with axes and hatchets. And an American and a British, or not a British, an American and a Korean were killed in this incident. And 3 days later, we went back with like a brigade and cut down this tree. And it was a very tense situation. I mean, we had deployed extra carriers. We thought this was going to lead to, Korean War Part 2. And I've got a piece of that tree. And the museum does. It was donated to us. It was given to a brigadier general who was in Korea at the time. And when we acquired his artifacts, that was among them. And, she's just looking at this thing and she's like, can I take pictures of this and send this to my family? And I'm like, sure, absolutely. And she was so happy to see that somebody was telling that part of the story. And that's what we do, Jim. I tell people when I was in high school, I did extemporaneous speaking in speech team. And in hindsight, I wish I had also taken storytelling, because that's what I have found that I've become, is a storyteller.
Yeah.
And that's what people like you and I do, is we have these stories, and it's like, so how do we take that story and now make it something that's interesting to other people that aren't necessarily followers of our thing? You could tell me a Route 66 story and I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. Or, we could tell a story about, somebody from World War II or Vietnam, and you make it interesting. And that's how you draw people in and get them to care about what you care about, which is what we should all care about. So.
You make things, making history relevant.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. Your Harpoon, how long before it'll be reassembled?
Well, that's the plan. So that's a good question. So the plan, once we get it up here, it'll be here at the end of August. September, we're going to be pretty busy with the festival. And then October, we're going to start working on the Harpoon pretty hot and heavy. The goal right now is late winter, early spring to have it ready for public display.
Okay.
So, we've got the UC-45, the Beech 18, which is, a pretty neat airplane in itself. Ours started out its life in 1943 as an AT-7 navigator trainer with the Army. It then went to the Navy in 1946, and it served with the U.S. Navy until it was retired in 1971. And we've actually got pictures of this airplane in service at Andrews Air Force Base in 1970. And
wow.
We're coming along. Yeah, so it's coming along really good. We've got the paint coming along good on it. We've got both engines on it. So our goal is actually to have it ready, not necessarily finished, but at least looking like an airplane for October 3rd, which to give a shout out and to give some credit where credit is due, Tim and Paul over at the Southwest Aviation Heritage Foundation have put a lot of time and effort with the Commemorative Air Force into getting a B-17 to come to Kingman for a couple of days. And that'll be October 3rd through the 5th. And that's going to be to go ahead and celebrate the naming of the Flying Fortress interchange off of I-40.
Yes.
And so I think there's going to be some public stuff going on. I don't know any of the details, but I just know those are the dates, and we'll probably have our beach up on display for that. And, so people can at least see that and see some of what we've done. And the Harpoon will be here, but I don't think she's going to be show worthy. So.
I just talked to Paul Gaines with the Aviation Heritage yesterday, and he did confirm there will be a B-17 here for this. Yeah. I think Sentimental Journey, I think, is the one.
Yes, that's the airplane, which actually Sentimental Journey is one of 3 that are still airworthy in the world at the moment. So, we had about 6 or 7 of them about 5 years ago, and sadly 909 and Texas Raiders were both lost in crashes. Mm-hmm. And the EAA bird, aluminum overcast, is down with a spar problem. So there's, I think right now in the States, there's 2 here and 1 in England that are still actually flying. So pretty cool thing for people to be able to come out and see. And, they've been very forthcoming with us about, hey, let's get together and see what we could do and just make a more positive thing for the community as a whole. So
very good. I've got, like I mentioned to you, I've got some, I've collected some, since you're telling personal stories, I've got some papers and materials here to bring out and donate for your museum. I've got my grandfather's World War I discharge papers. And
very cool.
Some other information.
I'm actually watching them on YouTube right now. You just held them up, so
yeah,
very good.
Yeah, I got a few things there for you that might be good for the collection.
Absolutely. Well, we always we enjoy getting stuff like that, and sometimes we get really unique things. And just this week alone, like I say, the neat thing about what I do for a living, managing a pawn shop, is that you never know what's going to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And this week we actually acquired a Apollo era program set of coveralls from the astronaut Jim McDivitt.
Oh.
And Jim was the mission commander for Gemini 4, and he was the mission commander on Apollo 9. And these don't have a mission patch, so these weren't flown in space. They were probably the pair that he wore in the simulator. But they're made out of the Teflon. They're the exact same thing. And what was so enamoring to me about them was on the back of each piece has the nomenclature tag, and it's got his name, like from the manufacturer. Each piece was handmade for each individual astronaut. And I thought that was super, super slick. And it surprised me how heavy they were for a pair of coveralls. There's a lot of metal in them so they can attach to the spacesuit, but very neat piece. And, we're going to tie that in with Vietnam, with the American home front during Vietnam, how here we are trying to distract people from what's going on in Southeast Asia and focus on the space race. And, everything goes back to us versus the commies during the 60s and 70s. So that'll be kind of a neat piece to tie into that. And it'll be something fun for people to see. So,
yeah. I'm very excited. Like I say, the museum is a project that, and the aviation heritage, it's long overdue. Both these museums are long overdue because of our military heritage here. The first military airfield here in Kingman was established in 1919. So our aviation and military heritage and history here is just extensive.
Yeah, they go back, and and then, when you do talk about, of course, then you can talk about the civilian aviation. You talk about the currently the Brown Drilling Building, which I think is now owned by Kaufman's. And that's so cool. And you see these Coca-Cola ads from, I forget which magazine it was in, but it was from 1929. And you open it up, and it's like when people land at the high desert of Kingman, Arizona, they want a refreshing Coca-Cola, and there's a picture of a tri-motor in front of their building. And that's pretty neat. You can look at it, you're like, yep, that's the building, and those are the mountains. Yeah. And, and then, people you tie back into World War II. And all of those things contributed to why this became a great place to build the Army Airfield. You had the railroad, you had Route 66, you already had a small airport.
Yeah.
It had, it was easy enough to pull the guys off the Davis Dam project and bring them up here. And I don't think people appreciate the marvel of engineering that all of these airfields were, that they built in like 5 or 6 months. And it wasn't just a runway. They built a city.
Yeah.
And, and they did it over and over and over again.
Yeah. And it wasn't just the Kingman Army Airfield. There was the auxiliary field, Site 6 in Havasu. There was the auxiliary field in Yucca. Yeah.
Yep.
Tom,
Red Lake. So, yeah.
Tom, thank you for joining me, taking time this morning. And I want to thank you very much for your dedication to this project. And as we get closer, we'll get a YouTube video up about the plane. Maybe the plane's assembly would be kind of neat to get some video content on that. And we'll stay in touch because I want to watch this thing progress.
Well, we appreciate it, Jim. We thank you for having us on the show this morning, and we look forward to it. And looking forward here to listening to your next 2 guests talk about their project. So,
yeah, this is going to be interesting. I've talked to these 2 gentlemen before, and this is it's a memorial project for a good friend, but it's also a grand adventure. And I have trouble, I have real trouble. This is part of aging. when somebody starts talking about vintage vehicles traveling the country in a 1973 Chrysler. I mean, I was finishing high school. I saw, what is that?
Well, we all have that moment, Jim, when we realize we've gotten old. And, about 5 years ago, I was driving to work one day and they're like, you're listening to Kingman's Classic Alternative Station. And I'm like, when did alternative is from the 90s become considered classic, Yeah, it's like, you're listening to 98.5 The Fossil, It's like, oh, crap. I got old.
The one that really hit me between the eyes, I was talking to the police chief the other day, and he was introduced me to one of their new cadets that's joining the police force. He was born in 2005.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You for us, I don't know, I'm a little bit younger than you are, but for us, I mean, our defining thing of our generation was 9/11.
Yeah.
And it was always, where were you on 9/11? And now you talk to people and it's like, where were you on 9/11? And they weren't even born yet. And they're buying a handgun. They're 21 or 22 years old.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, wow, time marches on. And, that's why we do what we do, Jim, is to preserve the history. And that's why you're doing your thing and we do ours. And that way, when we're gone, that people will appreciate what was our stuff. So,
well, that's what we do here. Tell people where to go and share America's story.
That's it. Jim, thank you so much for having me this morning. It's been a pleasure and an honor, sir.
You take care, Tom. Bye-bye.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Folks, I'll tell you that Tom's dedication to this project is pretty impressive. And the way he's going about it is impressive. Like I say, he's a real patriotic fella here, but he also wants to present the human side of military service and life. And we only touched on it briefly, but his collection of pictures of soldiers with cats, and it brings the universal humanity to things and a real awareness of, pretty intense. But if you get a chance, right now he's the manager at Pawn World out on the second store out on Northern Avenue in Kingman. And well worth a visit. Any pawn shop's always worth a visit. But he's got quite a display of materials from World War I, World War II on the shelves, on the walls, and it's really, really worth paying a visit. It's pretty astounding what he's doing. I'm excited to see this Harpoon coming in, and then we're getting a B-17 out here for a while too. And this is just right off Route 66. The airport itself is on Route 66. So it's real easy. And the airport cafe is really a must. It's great dining, and it's an historic building from the war. And good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, Jim.
How'd the first day go?
Can I say that? How is it going?
We've obviously caught you on the road. We're talking to Markku and Jacob on there. Well, this is probably the first day of the actual Route 66 adventure.
Yep. Yeah, we just left out of Chicago and we're passing through Juliet right now. Can you hear us okay, Jim?
Yeah, we sure can.
Awesome.
I think we have Jacob's mother with us this morning.
Yeah, she's at home watching.
Yes. God bless. And Jacob, speaking of that, what a way to celebrate a birthday.
Yes, it was a great send-off yesterday from Pasteiners there in Detroit. We all gathered there, and then we took off at 10 a.m. and took Route 12 all the way across southern Michigan and made it into Chicago. We only touched the freeway for about a mile at one point, but otherwise it was all the interstate.
That US 12, gotta tell you, that gets overlooked a lot. That is one of my favorite little drives in southern Michigan. It kind of digressed from your trip, but Jonesville, Michigan, was home to the Deal Automobile Company, and the factory is still there. And they have one of the Deal automobiles in the city hall on the in the window. Just a little bit of trivia for people traveling US 12. So how's the Chrysler doing?
Wonderful, perfect. Everything's operating as it should, and at one point I calculated 15 miles to the gallon. I think that may have been a misprint, but I'll take it. We'll put it in the book.
God bless. It's easy to forget the cars that we used to make, and I like the way you've approached this with Unforgotten. Detroit. These cars were such road cruisers. They were just made for the American highways, the big distances, the road trip.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, we just kept loading up the trunk with more tools and more parts, and we still got extra room.
When I worked at the Chrysler garage back in 76. I went to work in a Chrysler shop, and one of the mechanics always said the cars didn't come with a serial number or VIN number. They came with a zip code because they were so big.
Yeah.
How far are you going to make it today?
I think we are planning to make it to St. Louis.
Everything goes well. Yeah, it's kind of you're on a short string for time wise.
Yep. Yeah. With the plan to be in Los Angeles on the 10th. Time is a little the essence. We want to try to do 300 miles per day.
Yeah. Hopefully you can take in a few good sites like the National Transportation Museum or the Pontiac Oakland Museum along the way.
Yeah, that's what we are planning. Those two museums, and then actually here in Illinois today, Randy is going to join us. He's going to drive the Route 66 with us, and he also has a '73 Chrysler New Yorker, but he's in a two-door hardtop.
Oh my! I hope more people will join you along the way. That just makes the trip so much more fun, more enjoyable.
And our next stop is the Gemini Giant.
Okay, Wilmington, sure. I just had an interesting Mopar experience a couple days ago. A group from Sweden. Norway, a group from Norway was traveling Route 66, and some of them were very much classic car people. One couple I had met several years ago, they had bought a 1960 Impala, drove Route 66 and shipped the car home. And on this trip, the fella had picked up a 1954 DeSoto station wagon and was driving Route 66 back east, and it was going to ship the car home.
Okay. That sounds like a great adventure.
Oh, gosh. How's the air conditioner working?
Yeah, it's working well. Not as cool as we'd like it, but I got a few more adjustments to do, and we'll be in good shape.
I just wanted to check. Guys, I'm sorry I couldn't order warmer weather for you. It's only going to be 120 degrees down on the Colorado River today.
Not bad.
People say it's a dry heat. I have to remind them, so is the oven.
Yep.
We'll try to get the word out as much as we can. I've got your website link up, and we'll see if we can get some folks to join you. Do you know, if you drop me a note when you're coming through Kingman or getting in this direction, I'll get a hold of the Pharaohs Car Club. They love to meet people out by Hackberry, Arizona, and drive into Kingman with them.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I can send you a note once we know exactly when we are going to be there.
Yeah, just give me a day's notice, and I can generally get these old guys together. A lot of them just really enjoy visiting, and sometimes they'll drive up to Oatman with people traveling cars. Sure. St. Louis tonight. Very good.
And then Springfield tomorrow night, Missouri and Springfield, Missouri.
Oh, Springfield, Missouri.
They gave us too many Springfields.
They got one in the Simpsons and one in Illinois and one in Missouri.
Yeah.
Tulsa's coming up for you.
Yep.
Tulsa should roll out the carpet too. I'm sure Reese has got some plans. Well, guys, I just really appreciate you taking time this morning to talk at us and share a little bit of this adventure. I'm just really excited. I've got a soft spot for these Chryslers in these years. And I saw your pictures made me almost just laugh. When you guys are standing next to that car, you almost look like dwarfs. The car is just so monstrous, so big compared to most everything on the road today. You could probably melt the car down and make 3 or 4 Toyotas.
Yeah. Of course, when we get to Arizona, you can jump in the backseat and come with us to California.
Well, yeah, I would really, really enjoy that. That would be a grand adventure, an absolute grand adventure. I've had a few of these. My wife's father was Chrysler mechanic, one of the head mechanic at the Chrysler dealership for here many years. And he was of the opinion that if you didn't drive a Chrysler product, you probably had a communist flag in your garage. He really believed that was the ultimate American vehicle, was Chrysler's.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen,
this is something I'm sure that Hans would have wanted to do this trip, but unfortunately he passed. So.
Yes, that was another part of this trip that really I was so. Ever since we first talked, I thought that was a great memorial for him to take his car and do what he would have dreamed doing, traveling Route 66. He would have loved that.
Thank you.
From what you've told me, and the car you're driving, he picked that up in Kansas?
Yeah. And we are actually planning to meet, what's his name? The guy who sold this Chrysler to us in Joplin.
Yes. Oh, really? Really? Is he the original? Is that the family of the original owner, or?
Oh, he wasn't the first owner, but he's the person that Hans bought the car from, and I guess they were really good friends.
That will be a very emotional meeting.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to meet him. I was talking with him on the phone, and he seems like a good Mopar guy. He's into old Chryslers as well. So.
Very, very good. Yeah. And you're running the 440, is that correct? Yeah. Have you made any modifications on the car, or is it pretty much all stock?
For the most part, the only modifications we've really made is added more USB ports, charging ports.
Uh-huh.
The glove box is full of technology, GoPros, Insta360s, so we can document everything. But otherwise, we got a cherry bomb muffler, and
water pump.
Oh yeah, high flow water pump to keep the engine cool. But everything else, aftermarket carburetor. But for the most part, everything's stock.
Yeah.
And you did add a transmission for her.
Yeah.
Well, those cars in that era, it's kind of the best of the old and the best of the new. They had perfected things quite well, and the cars were extremely dependable, pretty much bug-free, and with just minor, tweaks here and there. You're filming this. Are you thinking of creating a documentary or just for the book?
Yeah, for both, video documentary on YouTube and everything like that, but live Instagram, Facebook posts to keep everything. But yeah, even for our own journal, we video those for our own memories to so we can look back at it in the future for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because sometimes it's gonna, memories get blurred, and when you're traveling like this and trying to make distance, yeah, it's easy to. You got to have those memories. Do you have a dedicated Facebook page for this, or is it just the Detroit Forgotten Wheels?
Yeah, so I have the Detroit Forgotten Wheels Facebook page.
I'll get that up. I'll get that up as well.
Yeah, so I'm posting there, and then of course the Instagram. Instagram is the same, Detroit Forgotten Wheels.
Well, hopefully you can run into Jay Leno up there in California when you get up to the auto show. I'm sure he'd be very interested in your trip.
Yeah, that would be fun if you could meet him.
Yeah, quite a fellow. It's really, I'm so excited to meet you fellas in person. And Route 66 is I just don't have words for what this road's become. But this year specifically, I've seen so many amazing things. In the past, a couple of years ago, I met a couple celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary, driving the Chrysler Airflow that they had when they got married. And just a few months ago, I met a couple that drove through in a 1926 Hupmobile. And another fella, he made it all the way out into California before he started having troubles. And I haven't got an update, but he was driving a 1914 Peerless the entire length of Route 66.
Yeah, that would be an accomplishment. That's awesome.
Yeah, that gets into the kind of a beat me, it feels good when you quit territory. That's that's a pretty rough way to travel, especially in the summer. Well, gentlemen, thank you for.
Have you noticed a big increase in traffic there in Kingman? On 66.
Yeah, there's been an uptick, but Route 66, even with international tourism overall being down, Route 66 tourism's remained steady and even on an uptick. It's just really hard. I have trouble finding words to describe what a Route 66 trip is. It's a time capsule. It's the American story made manifest. It's just absolutely incredible what you're seeing on this road. And anything and everything you can imagine, people from all over, all walks of life. And it's really amazing. And one of the things, when you take a car like what you're doing now with this 73 New Yorker, that's as close to time travel, I think, as a person can get. Take a car like that and get on Route 66. And that's time travel.
Yeah, no, speaking of things you see, we just happened to pass a old Pontiac that was made out to look like a sheriff or a state police car from the Bandit, from Smokey and the Bandit movie. Guy, behind the wheel had a white sheriff's outfit on and everything.
Wonder what the heck, you're going to be amazed because it becomes like it's a constant car show. The stuff you'll see out here on the road, things that you'd never imagine. 1916 motorcycles and just pretty amazing. You're going to really like the Pontiac Oakland Museum in Pontiac. Is quite impressive. And the museum, of course, the National Museum of Transportation outside of St. Louis is pretty spectacular. And here in Kingman, depending on your schedule, we can pop into the phase 1. It's very embryonic, but the world's first electric vehicle museum is being established here in Kingman on Route 66. Bit of a different chapter in the auto story.
Yeah, we can't wait to get there.
Yeah,
I think I've been there once before, but it's been a while.
Gentlemen, I'll let you get back to your trip. I want to thank you for taking time to do this morning, and I will get everything up. And join, please, anytime. Just let me know when you want to holler, and we'll get you an audience, and we'll try to promote whatever we can do to help. You just gotta give us a holler.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
Awesome, Jim. Joe, thank you for your time and putting us on this morning.
Oh, I like it. Jacob, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Even though it was yesterday. What a great way to start this. We'll see you soon, my friends.
Okay, see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we were having a little bit of a phone connection, I think, issue there. So we had to cut that a tad bit short. But that is amazing. I hope everybody can join Jacob and Markku, catch up with them on the road, travel a few miles with them. I will provide as many updates as I can. I'll try to follow them, give you a little bit of a heads up notice if you want to jump in your car. Doesn't have to be Chrysler. Just get out there on the road and travel with folks. It's an eye-opening experience. When you travel with people, you get to see it through their eyes. And that's pretty special. Jacob and Markku might even give you a ride in the Chrysler. And for you young folks, pretty much I say that about anybody much under 50 from where I'm sitting, we are going to, Chryslers are amazing. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer for you this morning? I'm sorry we had to, we cut that a little bit short with Jacob and Markku. I'm very excited about their trip. And Haggerty Insurance did a great article about why they're doing this trip, about the car, the process of getting it road ready. And I'll get that link up as well on the Jim Hinckley's America Facebook page. I'll also put it up on the Route 66 Bicentennial group page. And we'll have some information up on the Jim Hinckley's America website. If you get any questions about their trip, drop me a note and I'll try to get an answer for you. What are we doing next? Well, that's a darn good question. I got a pretty full week. Local First Arizona Rural Forum. Governor be speaking. I'm really honored to be a keynote speaker there this next week. And then the Thunderbird Nationals gatherings coming up in Flagstaff, Arizona, and I'll be speaking there on September 11th. So lots of great things happening all over right now with car clubs, car groups. The Route 66 situation is, I really, I talk on this a lot, but I'm not usually at a loss for words. But the Route 66 adventure, the Route 66 story, it's something you really need to experience. It truly is the American story made manifest. Divisions over politics and all these other things seem to just melt. It's about the people. And you will meet the most amazing people when you're out here on this road, like Markku and Jacob. So I encourage you to get out there and take a bit of a Route 66 adventure. Get you a couple updates. I'm going to be a little behind on Substack, but we got programs going up there. We're still doing a Coffee with Jim episodes. Those are recorded programs posted on Friday on Podbean. Then we have Jim Hinckley's America Instagram and on Facebook. And, of course, the Jim Hinckley's America website, travel planning, all kinds of information. One thing I forgot to ask Markku and Jacob, I'll have to send them a note. I noticed they're sponsored with Route 66 navigation. And I've just been talking to Marian Pavel this morning about Route 66 navigation. Some new updates coming on that. It is the Route 66 navigation app is really changed the way we travel Route 66. This is another example of how Route 66 is a unique animal. Jerry McClanahan's EZ66 guide is the most popular guidebook I know of to Route 66, and it's right out of the 1950s. It's a flip ring little book. And then you have the navigation app. And it is a really innovative. And you put the two together and you have a blending, just like with Route 66. the past and the present and even the future. And I'm curious to see how they were handling that. If we don't have any questions, I guess I can wrap this up pretty quick. I have a few questions that were sent to me this week, and I'll get to these. Let's see if I can do this for you. Grand Canyon West is about 65 miles north of Kingman. They do have the skywalk. There is a charge. I don't have that. The restaurant is open. What you would do is from Kingman, you would go out at 66 and Walpine Mountain Road near the dam bar. You turn on Stockton Hill Road, and it's well marked. You go out Stockton Hill Road and then Pierce Ferry Road up to past Diamond Creek Guest Ranch. Beautiful, beautiful drive. Cheryl Eicher Jett just sent me some materials this morning. She's doing a book signing for her new book about women on the road. And I'll have details on her book signings all the way along Route 66, including all the way out to Auto Books, Aero Books in Burbank, California. The other question I have is about travel with young people, with children. Yes, Route 66 is a family activity. This is tremendous. It's the latest in the Annie Mouse series created by Anne Slanina. And this is really, really great for kids. Somehow, I even got included in this, which is kind of odd. But, there's that. The other question I have, let's see if I can find this for you. Books. Yeah, this is a little shameless shelf promotion. Book one is a little outdated, not much. Both, though, it's about museums, restaurants, attractions, motels, places that I frequent. Also, I've received questions this week about the Route 66 Sentinel magazine. I will get up information about the magazine where you can get a copy, get on a mailing list, subscription. I'll get all the information together for this for you as well. And one quick announcement, I have accepted a position with the magazine as the Western correspondent. I'll be writing articles about Route 66 communities, events, people, places in New Mexico, Arizona, and California. I'm working on the first installment at this time. My friends, I want to thank everybody who joined us this morning. I'll have information on the Annie Mouse book. She has a website and a lot of the gift shops and bookstores along Route 66 sell this. Let's see if she's got this. It's AnnieMouseBooks.com. You can contact her also at AnnieMouse@gmail.com. And she's got a whole series of Annie Mouse books. Get kids interested and keep them a little busy while they're out there on the road. I have links here for this, and I will have information about the Museum of the Great Wars in the when we publish this, and also have information about the website for Jacob and Markku. Guys, I've had fun this morning. I'm getting the hang of this new YouTube thing. It's still kind of, I feel like I'm in grade school, show and tell. But appreciate everybody's patience. I appreciate everybody's support. And with that said, I'm going to wrap this up. But I got to give a shout out to the people in the businesses that make this all possible. Everything we're doing, from educational programs to the podcast, supporters, listeners that support us through Patreon, we greatly appreciate that. A lot of the educational programs we try to do for free, and it just wouldn't be possible without your support. Dina Nelson, State Farm Insurance here in Kingman, Arizona. She's definitely one of our hometown heroes. She's always quick to jump in and help. She's not only a good friend and our insurance agent for close to 40 years, 30 years, but long time. But she's also a sporter. David Brenner, Roadrunner Lodge Motel in Tucumcari, New Mexico. Tucumcari has quite a collection of motels from time capsules from different periods, 30s, the late 50s, and David Brenner, the Roadrunner Lodge, has done a great job of making that almost a perfect 1960s time capsule. It's right down to having radios in the room with his dedicated radio station and having commercials and things from the early to mid 1960s. And it's right across the street from Dell's, a great place to eat. Vicky Ashcraft at the Enchanted Trails Trading Post, an RV park, topping along Route 66, top a 9-mile hill, just west of Albuquerque. So much to say about Enchanted Trails Trading Post and RV park. I mean, lots I could say. The trading post is a 1940s trading post, and it's now the gift shop, the offices, the laundry, the rec room. It's a full-service modern RV park, but she's also got a great display of vintage travel trailers and Hudson automobiles. First-rate place. And the other thing with Vicky is she never seeks the limelight, but my gosh, she has contributed so mightily to the Route 66 community and is passionate about it. She was deeply involved in the founding of the Route 66 Association of New Mexico. She was president for quite a while. That organization got blown up, kind of splintered. There was a group that decided, it's a long story, but they decided to try to make it more about them, shall we say, and they split it. And Vicky picked up the pieces and with some other passionate folks created the New Mexico Route 66 Alliance. Vicky's been having a few issues, and I'm not going to embarrass her or go into details. But if you know Vicky or appreciate the work that she's done, maybe drop her a note or a card to the Enchanted Trails Trading Post. I think she would really like to hear from everybody. She's having a rough spell. People worry about, planning a Route 66 trip. There's a lot of logistics, different things involved. Just road trips in general. Now, I got 3 companies that I work with. Each is different in its own way, and each comes highly recommended. Route Trip USA, you can get into Canadian train trips or road trips. And they're the bespoke holiday specialists. They create road trips, United States, Route 66, California coast, Southwest. I'm really pleased not only to have them as a sponsor, but I do projects for them. They hire people such as myself as tourism development consultants to help make sure the trips are accurate and information. And then there's add-ons, and I'm grateful to be a part of that as well. Clients can add a walking tour with me here in Kingman as an example. That's routetripusa.com. Austin Coop with Two Lane America, based out of Chicago. Boy, that fella, he's not just Route 66 trips, but he does auto museums in southern Michigan, northern Indiana, Auburn Cord Museum, Gilmore, Henry Ford Complex. He organized a great tour there, one to Yellowstone. And I can always tell if a tour company is being done right, because by the time they get to Kingman, they've been on the road for 10 days, 2 weeks, and everybody's laughing, everybody's smiling, they're happy, and they're not looking for rope to hang the tour guide. That tells me that Austin does a great job. People really enjoy what he does. My good friend Sam Murray with Gilligan's Route 66 tours. He does a good caravan tour spring and summer on Route 66 that's top notch. And he also has an incredible self-drive package. He's got a special program that he's put together, and he works with Marian Pavel of Route 66 Navigation to create a special tour. And then he also provides a really great detailed guidebook. So a self-guided trip with Sam Gilligan's, is as close as you're going to get to traveling your own schedule, your own pace, and having your own personal tour guide in the car. And he does another great trip too that I highly recommend, is a Mississippi River tour, a drive from Minneapolis to New Orleans. It's very, very detailed. He's deep into introducing people to the American story. So we have that in common, about encouraging people to discover America through road trips. So I'm really honored to work with Sam. You know, I've talked to him recently, and this is might be of interest. Coming soon, he's going to be offering that kind of level of expertise with New Zealand road trips. And if you've seen pictures of videos of New Zealand, this is going to be one I highly recommend. Well, folks, I've been beating my gums here for about an hour, and I hope I haven't bored everybody or took up too much of your time. Join us, become a subscriber, become a follower. Check out Podbean. I think you're going to really like what we're doing there. Great recorded programs about American history. And then join us next Sunday here for the live program. Invite your friends, because Jim Hinckley's America is always, always a shared adventure. And the best adventures, well, those are the ones that are shared with friends. Until we meet again, my friends, I will bid you adios. Vaya con Dios, mi amigos.